First of all, what I'd like you to do is print off the sheet that's been attached. It's titled Sequences, so that you can follow along with me as you go. Today we're looking at sequences. Sequences are patterns where the number goes up by the same amount each time. In fact, yesterday you were plotting sequences onto a Cartesian plane. A linear sequence increases or decreases by a constant amount. The points we were plotting yesterday were all linear sequences. We can write up a formula for those sequences so that we could predict or find another point on the line or know how many matches I would need to draw a different pattern. What I'd need to do is first draw one more pattern. Why do we do that? So that we know how much it's increasing by and we've got a good idea of what we're looking at. Secondly, we're going to make a table. That will just give some numbers or some values for each thing that we're looking at, and then we're going to be able to use that table to see how much my number of matches is going up by or decreasing by as I go along. And the last thing we'd need to do is find out what the number would be if there were no patterns. And surprisingly, that's not always just going to be 0. So we'll just have a little think about that. I'm going to move this down so we can see the whole thing, but we can still see our box. What I would like you to do is write down some notes on what a linear sequence is into your books, and I will be checking that. So, I'm going to move that even more. Drawing one more pattern is our first step that we need to do. So I am going to draw my next pattern here. So 1, 2, 3, that's the pattern that I had. And one more. Okay, and each of those lines stands for a matchstick. So in pattern number 1, I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches. In pattern number 2, I added on an extra 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And in the next pattern, I added on, I've got my 15 over there, and then I added on 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Now, what I'm actually going to do now is see what is my common difference. How much am I increasing by each time? So to get from 8 to 15, good. It was 7. From 8 to 15 is 7. And from 15 to 22, it's also 7. And so how many matchsticks am I expecting for my pattern number 4? Well done. 29. I just added 7 on, and you can check by counting your pattern as well. So I have a common difference of 7. Means it's increasing every time by 7. That means my gradient, so it's increasing that means it's going to be a multiple of 7. So if I say my number of matches equals 7 times my term number or my pattern number. So the number of matches equals 7 times my term number. Now let's just see what actually that is. So if I have my number of matches as 1 over here, and I am timesing that by 7, I get 7. If my term number is 7 and I'm timesing that by 7, I get 14. And if my number of pattern number is 3 and I'm going to times that by 7, I get 21. What I want you to look at is, what do I have to add to 7 to give me 8? What do I have to add to 7 to give me 8? Good, I have to add 1. And what do I have to add to 14 to give me 15? Yep, I now added another 1. So each time I am adding 1. Once I've times my term number by 7, I have to add 1 to that answer to get the number of matches I need. So I can tell that my number of matches for each of these is 7 times the term number, add 1. Let's check with the one we drew. 7 times 4 gives me 28, plus 1 gives me a total of 29. So that means I can have an equation that says M equals 7 times the number of matches, number of term numbers, plus 1. Number of matches is 7 times the term number plus 1. Now, on your piece of paper, you have got the next one. I would like you to pause now and see if you can draw the next pattern. Make a table. Find out the common difference, how much it's going up or down, and then that last one that I added would be the number when there are no patterns, how much it's starting at. Well, hopefully you would have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 1 in the middle. Don't know what happened there. Have to add 1 to each side, and then 2 there was my original, and 2 there. Sorry, my diagram's not that great, but it doesn't have to be to scale. So there is my extra pattern. So for my pattern number 1, I needed 4 matches. For my pattern number 2, I needed the 4 there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. For pattern number 3, I needed 28. Okay, so what is my common difference? From 4 to 16, I have to add 12. And from 16 to 28, I have to add 12. So for my pattern number 4, I'm expecting 40 matches. And if you do check them, you will see that that is how many there are. So in my equation, I'm going to have my number of matches, my output, what I'm getting, is equal to 12 times the term number or the pattern number. Well, what am I actually going to be doing now? So what I'd have to see is, well, what is 1 times 12? 1 times 12 is 12. 2 times 12 is 24. 3 times 12 is 36. What do I have to do to each of these numbers to get that next term? What do I do to 12 to give me 4? Good. I have to minus 8. Check. 24 minus 8 does give me 16, so it's minus 8. 12n minus 8. My number of matches is 12 times the pattern number it is, minus 8. Good job.